It was my 34th birthday, and I was standing in the middle of Seattle's cheapest restaurant. Cranberry juice dripped on my $3,000 expensive cream silk dress. My niece's words cut through the stunned silence. "Now you look as cheap as you really are." Her grin, sharp as a blade, cut deeper than the stain that ruined my dress. My mother patted her hand as if she had just passed an exam with flying colors, while my sister grinned in the background. At that moment, surrounded by my closest friends in a room that I had been planning to perfection for months, something broke inside me. I smiled despite the humiliation, but there was a fire burning inside me, one that would change everything. If you see this, please click on like, subscribe to us, and leave a comment by telling me where you are from. Believe me, you will not believe how this story develops. I am Katarina, and I have always been the reliable one in my family. Growing up in a small town just a few hours from Seattle, I was the kid who stayed up late, studied, and dreamed of a bigger life. My 3 years older sister Claire was the opposite. Wild, charming, always in the center of attention. When she got pregnant at 20, she stayed in her hometown and shuttled between jobs and friends while I moved to Seattle, determined to make something of myself. I fought my way up from an entry-level job in marketing to becoming the managing director of a top company, working nights and weekends, sacrificing friendships and dates to build a life for myself that I was proud of. My apartment with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Puget Sound and my sleek Audi parked downstairs were proof of this hard work. Claire, however, has never left this small town. She raised her daughter Frey in a cycle of forced evictions and jobs with no opportunities for advancement. I have never condemned their decisions. Family is family, right? But somehow I became their safety net. "Katarina, the landlady is after me again. Can you help? Or—" "Freyr needs new dance shoes." Only this one time there were regular calls. I loaded Claire on my credit card for emergencies. But soon she was paying for designer bags and wellness days. When Freyr turned 16, I bought her a reliable limousine, which was registered in my name, because I thought it would help her to get to school and dance training. I told her that she could use them until graduation, but her sinister look at the word told me that she already considered them her own. My mother did not help me. When I was growing up, she clapped louder at Klesigan piano concerts than at my perfect ones. When I got scholarships for college, she called me a lucky guy. When I got my first big job, she was worried that I was working too hard. Clau was tripping with the words. "She's doing her best to get the arms off." Even as an adult, she waved off. "Money is not everything, Katarina." Although Cla's short plan to take online courses was so brave, I always hoped that they would really see me and be proud of me. This hope carried me through years of missed birthdays, ambiguous compliments, and teacher bank accounts. When my 34th birthday came, I decided that it would be different. I was tired of waiting for your approval. I would host a dinner at Azure Room, Seattle's most exclusive restaurant, and wear something stunning. A dress that screamed, "That's me." Maybe they would finally understand, surrounded by the life I had built for myself. Looking back, I see how much I was still chasing her love. Like a child desperately looking for a golden star, planning the birthday dinner became my obsession. The Azure Room was impossible to book, but I set an alarm clock to call as soon as the system was opened and got a private room for the care exactly on my birthday. It felt like a sign that this evening was going to be something special. Next came the dress, a cream silk dress with delicate crystal beads, which cost more than I had ever spent on clothes. When I tried it on and turned around in the mirror of the boutique, the saleswoman grinned. "A great occasion?" she asked. "My birthday," I said in the Azure Room. "Your partner must be thrilled," she replied. I laughed. "No partner, just me celebrating myself." She nodded with a warm look. "That's even better." The invitations went out 6 weeks earlier. My friends Heidi, a nurse I knew since college, Amara, a quick-witted colleague, Bjorn, my neighbor and graphic designer, and his husband Lucas responded enthusiastically and offered to help with the planning. Inviting my family was more difficult. I called my mother first. "One Thursday night in Seattle," she said, annoyed. "It's a long drive, Katarina." I offered a ride service and swallowed down the sting in her tone of voice. It's the Ashur room, Mom. It's very important to me, she sighed. I'll talk to Claire. Freer could dance. Claire's answer was no better. This place is insanely expensive, she said. I said, I invite you, I assured her. For everyone. She snorted. Frey, you need a new outfit. She can't show up in sneakers. I closed my eyes and counted to 3. I'm sending money for it. On the morning of my birthday, I woke up full of hope. I had booked a spa tag with massage, facial treatment, and all the trimmings. While drinking coffee and looking at the Seattle skyline, I let myself believe that tonight would be different. My family would see the woman I had become, not just the sister or daughter who was paying her bills. In the evening, I was ready. The dress fitted perfectly to my figure. My hair fell in gentle waves and my makeup was markless. I felt unstoppable. In the Azure room, the staff greeted me like a queen. Happy birthday, Miss Bennett, the host said, leading me into the private room where champagne was being chilled in a silver bucket. My friends arrived on time, arms full of loving gifts and warm hugs. Heidi held me close to her. You're radiant, Katharina. We were laughing, sipping champagne and telling each other stories when the first course was served. But at 19:15, my family was still not there. I checked my phone and tried to ignore the queasy feeling. Shall we wait? Amara asked quietly. I forced myself to smile. No, let's get started. They will be there. At 19:45, they finally shuffled in. My mother was wearing her usual washed-out dress. Claire looked irritated, and Frey was 17 and constantly on the phone wearing a crop top and a miniskirt that defied the elegance of the restaurant. The traffic was terrible, my mother said without looking me in the eye. The staff moved their seats, but the mood changed. My friends tried to involve her and asked Freer about dancing and Claire about her job. Free shrugged her shoulders and barely looked up. She's talented. My mother threw in. Her teacher says she could turn pro. Claire nodded. If only we could afford a better education. I saw the spot and grabbed it. There are great summer dance programs in Seattle. I could help you find one. Claw's eyes narrowed. Not everyone lives in a penthouse, Katharina. Some of us have to be content. There was silence at the table. Bjorn gave me a sympathetic look, but I shook my head. Not here. Over the course of dinner, the gap grew. My friends told stories about my kindness, my perseverance, my nightly work sessions. My family sat there stiffly and made derogatory remarks. When Freer complained that the food was too extravagant, my mother giggled as if that were charming. I felt how the hope that I had carried in me all day began to crumble. The tension at the table grew with each course. My friends created a relaxed atmosphere and raised their glasses to toast my 34 years. Heidi started with a warm voice on Katharina, who has been my anchor since college. Your heart is as big as your diligence. Amara and Bjorn followed, and their words filled me with pride. But when it was my family's turn, the mood changed. My mother half-heartedly raised her glass. Happy birthday, Katharina. Time flies by, doesn't it? Claw toast was even worse, bursting with sarcasm on my little sister who always strives for the stars while we are stuck in the mud. Freer didn't even look up. Too busy texting. The unwrapping of the presents was a fresh wound. Heidi and Amara gave me a leather-bound planner with my initials. Bjorn and Lucas a weekend voucher. Personal attentive gifts that made my heart beat faster. Then came class's gift. A candle from the dollar in a crumpled bag. The price tag was still stuck to the card. Obviously a last-minute handle. Only with the inscription. Happy birthday, sister, and her name under it. Thank you, I said, forcing a smile. My voice was strained. Nice, Claire grinned. Not every one of us can afford fancy gifts, you know. When dessert came, a stunning chocolate sculpture with Happy Birthday, Catherine and gold leaf, I clung to my last hopes. The sparkler on the plate elicited a joyful amazement from the tables next to me, and for a moment I enjoyed it. That was my life, that I had built myself from the ground up, and I was proud. Then I heard Free whispering something to Claire, putting her heads together and looking at me with a mischievous smile. My mother leaned forward and joined in her quiet giggling, while my stomach turned over. Are you all right? I asked loosely. Everything is fine, my mother said and waved her off. Freer just wanted to say how chic all this is. I turned to Freer, desperately trying to bridge the gap. I'm glad you could come, Freer. I know it's exhausting dancing during the week. She looked at me for the first time all evening with a cold look. Yeah, whatever. It must be nice to throw money around. Claire laughed a sharp tone. Be nice, Freer. It's her big day. But there was no warmth in her voice. Heidi slipped up uncomfortably, and Bjorna tried to get the thing back into the lute. Also, Freer, Katharina says you like to dance. Are you already thinking about college? Freer rolled his eyes. Not everyone is allowed to play college, girls. Some of us work. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. Actually, I was saving for your college, Freer, a trust fund that was set up at your birth. He's not huge, but he could cover community college, maybe even more with scholarships. The table froze. Clog gets confused. A college case. Since when? My mother frowned. You never mentioned that. I wanted it to be a surprise, I said for Freer when she is ready to plan her future. Instead of gratitude, their faces hardened. Freer's grip on her glass tightened. Her ankles turned white. Clay's voice was low, dangerous. So you were hoarding money while we were just barely making ends meet. That's not what I meant. I started, but Freer interrupted me. You're always the hero, right? And makes us look miserable. My friends exchanged horrified glances. Heidi touched my arm, but I barely felt it. The night I had put my heart into his breakdown. Let's just enjoy the dessert, I said in a trembling voice. We can talk about it later. Freer's eyes flashed. No, let's talk now. I don't need your pity money. She got up and grabbed her cranberry mocktail. You want to know what I think of your perfect life? Your stupid dress, this whole show. Before I could react, she poured me the drink. Cold liquid hit my chest and soaked the silk. Red stripes ran like wounds. Now you look as cheap as you really are, she hissed. It became quiet in the restaurant. My friends were gasping for air. Beyond half got up, but I raised a hand to stop him. My mother grabbed Freya's hand and mumbled. Honey, calm down. Claire reached for her purse. We told you it's too much here, Katharina. They got up to leave, as if I had ruined everything. I was sitting there dripping. My eyes were burning with unweepy tears, while strangers were staring at me, and the staff was unsure what to do. I don't know how I recorded my voice. Thank you for coming, I said as my family walked out, leaving me in a puddle of cranberry juice and broken dreams. The pressure of all the glances in the restaurant weighed on me, but I forced myself to smile and dabbed my ruined dress with a napkin. Guess the party's over early, I said to my friends, trying to laugh. Heidi let herself slide onto the chair next to me, her arm around my shoulders. Katharina, that was terrible. I'm so sorry. Amara was already in the process of paying the bill and whispered to the waiter to pack our desserts. Bjorn and Lucas flanked me while walking and shielded me from prying eyes on the stairs. In my apartment, surrounded by the warmth of my girlfriend, I finally let the tear-free run. The dress had been destroyed to shreds in the night, but worst of all was the fantasy that I had cherished for years, that one day my family, they love me as I am, lay in ruins. When my friends hugged me and promised to be there for me, a new decision froze in me. For years I had financed her life, endured her insults, and endured her recognition. Not anymore. After they left, I was sitting there alone in my stained dress, scrolling through my banking app. Years of transactions start me off. $80,000 emergency loans to CLA, thousands more for her credit card bills, boutique clothes, fancy dinners, trips she couldn't afford. The car I bought for Freer, dollar plus insurance and gas, taunted me with every social media post by referring to it as my car. Then I opened Instagram. Freer's latest post was a blurry shot of me as red juice stained my dress with the caption, "Rich aunt needed a reality check." Sorry, not sorry. Claire had liked it and added a laughing emoji. My blood was freezing in my veins. I picked up my phone and made 2 calls. First, to my credit card company, so that they delete Claire Bennett as an authorized user and issue me a new card. Secondly, to my friend, the lawyer Thomas. I need to reclaim a car registered in my name. Every phone call felt like I was throwing off a burden that I had been carrying around with me for too long. Then I saw Freier's secretly recorded videos in which I cleat, with the subtitle Annie pretending to be there for Instagram because of the problem of the rich. The comments were brutal. I bet she has 10 more dresses of this kind. The spoiled rich lady deserved it. Clan on all. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I called the credit card company again to confirm that class access was blocked. I hired a towing company to pick up Freya's car from the school grounds and sent a proof of ownership. I met with my financial advisor Janet, who explained the harrowing truth to me. The reason in Ferd's daughter, which Claire had received over a period of 5 years, excluding the car. Without this burden, I could retire years earlier, travel, live for myself. Around noon, the towing company called Miss Bennett cared. A young lady tried to dissuade us, but we showed her the documents. I thanked him and gave a tip for the effort. Then the phone call began.
Claire, angry.
The card is not working. I'm stuck in the drive-in.
Freya sobbed.
Someone stole my car. I explained it calmly. The car was mine. The credit card was empty. My mother called and accused me of pettiness. Family doesn't do that kind of thing, Katharina. I'm looting them all to my house the same afternoon. We need to talk face to face. I prepared myself meticulously and prepared bank statements, credit card statements, and screenshots of Freya's posts. When they arrived, Claire angrily confronted Fryer on the street. My mother played the multi-door. I remained steadfast. Sit down, I said, pointing to the documents. That's every dollar I've given you. All of them in 5 years. Designer clothes, travel, a car, and this. I pushed my tablet forward.